So today I want to talk about a top-down versus bottoms-up approach. That's an approach we take usually to deal with something that is wrong or something that is a obstacle or a challenge, something we want to deal with. The top-down approach means that what's in between the ears controls what's below them. So an approach that would take in consideration what your brain is doing, what your mind is doing, and thinking that that will dictate how your body works, versus a bottoms-up approach, which would be the opposite, that what is in your body kind of dictates how you think. So a very simple distinction between these would be something like depression, right? So the two schools of thought in depression would be a negative looping mindset of negativity will cause you eventually to be depressed, which will then eventually cause your body to have a reaction, right? So you're gonna have less energy, poor hormone function, amongst other things. Or you can take a bottoms-up approach, which would be lack of exercise, lack of sun exposure, maybe some genetic components that you have will eventually cause you, or could eventually cause you, to develop depression. These are two different approaches that you can take when dealing with something. Should we fix the body, or should we fix the mind, the brain? So when in a bottoms-up approach, we look at gut health, muscle soreness. This is just an example, but like a muscle mass approach, or how strong you are, things that have to do with your muscle mass. Activity level, as we know, activity level impacts a lot of our mood and our thoughts. Insulin sensitivity, so if we're dealing with something like obesity, right, we can take a bottoms-up approach, look at what's wrong with your body before we're looking at any sort of brain thought process, genetic process. And obviously any other blood work, so deficiencies in vitamins, minerals, and things like that. When we look at a top-down approach, the thing we want to make sure we do is looking at your mood, your thoughts, relationships, your central nervous system fatigue. So for example, if you're trying to get a muscle up, you might have all the physical abilities necessary to do a muscle up. You might be able to do strict pull-ups weighted, strict dips weighted, but you don't have the confidence, the mindset to get a muscle up. That would be something that would be worked in a top-down approach, right? We got to figure out what in your head is keeping you from actually doing the movement. Or it could be the opposite. Your mindset's great, you're excited, you're confident about it, but you struggle with pull-ups, you struggle with dips, you struggle with the strength to do something. And then we'll look at the bottoms-up approach. Let's fix the body. The mind already is in a good place, and then we can go forward. Nutrition is the same thing, right? Nutrition has a very physical, very real component, which is obviously the exact macros, the exact food that you're eating, opposed to a very emotional, very bonding, very social aspect to nutrition. So depending on what it is that we want to do, and depending on what is the thing that you struggle with the most, we're going to take a bottoms-up versus a top-down approach. And that's what N=1 means, is that you look at every case as a unique case. The thing that I would do for somebody, for two different people that are struggling with nutrition, would be different if I take a bottoms-up approach or a top-down approach. So anything that you are struggling with, anything you're dealing with, make sure you're also looking at this to see what's the best path to take when dealing with those, because then you'll be more efficient and you're going to solve for this, for the uniqueness of your own case.